Hello, Arnout.
Hi, Dimitri.
Today, I think we're already working together more than 3 years. I think it's a nice moment to maybe look back on our collaboration. But before we dive in, who are you and what is Phished about?
Yeah, sure. 3 years, it's crazy. So, yeah, I think you already know me, but for those who don't, I'm Arnout from Meulebroucke. I'm the founder and current CTO of Phished. And we're a cybersecurity company in Leuven, where we both are from.
Correct?
And we specialize basically in the human side of cybersecurity, protecting employees from all types of cyber attacks all over the world.
Yeah.
Basically.
That's Phished indeed. And so we've been collaborating. I think you reached out to us 3 years and a half ago. Do you remember where was Phished at that moment? And then we can go into the challenges maybe a bit later.
Yeah, sure. When I first started Phished, we started off as obviously a side project, and then we developed into a business. But that also meant that we started from some code that I had initially written, where it was working, but it wasn't always the best, as I think you can imagine quite fondly. And when we actually became a business, we thought, okay, let's rewrite the PHP that we currently have in another language, C#, and go from there. But eventually, because of multiple reasons, that didn't work out so well, and we needed to make an urgent shift. And then we were looking like, who can help us with that? And you guys were one of the first names that popped up.
Yeah, wasn't it also so that you were still developing on the PHP code base and very hands-on, still made a lot of progress, built a lot of features, so that was still growing quite a bit, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we needed to balance that out because we were growing as a company, and I couldn't spend all my time just on that alone.
Yeah. Obviously, I still remember a bit of the challenges that we had back then, but you called us in. What was the reason that you called us in specifically?
Well, we were facing a couple of main issues. The main one was performance and scalability. Our company was growing as a business, but we also were looking to make our product and platform grow in the same way and make it reliable for the future.
Yeah. And then as a team, you were the only person working on the PHP code base. So what was the ambition with that?
Well, to build up a team, actually, to make sure that I think we made the joke to one another that one day I could lay on a beach somewhere without being bothered.
Yeah.
So that was my main ambition, actually.
And looking back on the past 3 years, have you been able to achieve that goal? Like, have you been on a beach where you feel like, oh, everything is under control back at Phished?
I've been on a beach twice. Everything is under control is obviously a bit of a stretch in a scale up, but most of the things, yeah.
Because still, for the people, you are still very involved in the company as the CTO at the moment. One of the approaches that you have, I like to call you the CIO as well, like Chief Innovation Officer. You have this approach where you build a prototype, you see some business value, you build a prototype, and then you throw it to some developers to continue from there. What is it that you like so much about this approach? Because I find it quite unique.
It's actually not only me who does that, but it's with our entire stakeholder team. So that's Jo and Manon as well. We have a lot of ideas with the three of us, and we like to scale on that. We like to iterate on it together. And what's the best way to do that is just by building something very quickly. It doesn't have to be pretty, but then we can at least validate it, you know? And we were talking about a few things. And what we usually do is then we validate the idea and then we bring in the development team. And that's usually where the nice collaboration with madewithlove comes to its finest or the best.
Yeah, that's nice to hear. I'll take a compliment when I hear one. We've talked a bit about where Phished was back then.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you now? Just to gauge a bit, like size-wise, and both on the team, but also like where is Phished as a company now today? And where do you maybe want to grow in the future?
Yeah, sure. If we're talking like in global about Phished, I think we have just hit over the 100 employees mark, which is a nice milestone, obviously. And in terms of development team and product team size, I think we've just hit around the 20 people mark as well, which is also a nice milestone. Where are we going? We're in a bit of a crossroads right now because we've hit a certain level as well in terms of product scale and team scale as well, that we need to make decisions. Are we going to keep growing our team indefinitely, or are we going to like perhaps refine and go a bit more dedicated on certain product
Yep.
areas?
Yep.
And to be honest, it's probably that second part that will.
I think it's actually something that we've been working on quite closely, is together with the stakeholders as well. We hit the crossroad. We've been doing very well in the way we've been working the past 3 years, but we need to be ready for the next 3 years. And so we've been thinking about, okay, how do you organize the team? Now it's like feature-based teams. Do we want to move to streamlined teams? So that's something that we'll continue to work on and hopefully make sure that we're ready for the next 3 years.
So Dimitri, perhaps I have a question for you.
Shoot.
We've been working together closely now for just over 3 years, as you said. Like, what's the one thing that you're proud of our collaboration so far?
That's a good question. I think for me, the main thing that we've done really well, and I know it was a bit difficult in the beginning, is we've put the bar high for our hiring. So there was no team, and we knew we had to find those cornerstone employees to form a team. And I have a strong opinion on making sure that those people meet the bar, so we put it very high. I remember in the beginning we got some flack for that because it took quite some time to find the right people. But if you look back now with the team we currently have, the thing I'm the proudest of is having this very mature team you can really rely on, and it permeates everywhere. You can see it in everything we do. I think we wouldn't be, Phished wouldn't be where they are today if we hadn't put that bar that high in the beginning. So that's really has been one of the key aspects of which I'm proud in our collaboration as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's something that I definitely can relate to on a day-to-day basis. It's something you notice each and every day.
I still remember the CEO, we were doing a technical assignment and all of that, and she's like, "Why is it taking so long, to start a team?" But I think we held our ground and we said, okay, this is how we're going to do it. And I think actually now she's completely convinced of that approach, and we're doing it maybe in other positions as well. So
yeah, we do it in nearly every department.
That was an interesting take.
Yeah. And perhaps something else, like remember when we started off, one of the first things that you or Andreas said to us was, yeah, we only stay 6 to 12 months or at most 18. We're now 36 months ahead of time.
Yeah, you're calling me out there, or you're calling us out. I think it makes sense. So initially when we start a project, we come in with an exit plan, because we think it's important for us, for the company itself, for the investors in the company, that we don't overstay at a certain project. We come in, we say 6 months to 1 year and a half. However, what we've seen, and Phished is one of those cases, we've had it with other companies as well, other clients as well, is that as the challenges evolve, we actually stay longer. So imagine, we've grown quite a bit at Phished, so the challenges have evolved. Every year some new challenges came upon us, and that's why we stayed longer than we initially set out to be. So yeah, it happens, but I think it also means that we've been able to give more value, or we've been able to collaborate on new topics, and it's been worth it. So yeah.
So what do you think your ideal exit plan is now? Are you going to stay forever?
Of course, we're not going to stay forever. I've been, you want to get rid of us? No, jokes aside. I think the main part is to replace ourselves. So I think with the development team, we've managed to do that already with the mature team that we have there. And then for my role, which is in support of you, I think there we're already drafting the role description. So we're going to try to hire that internally at Phished as well. So and pave the way so that person has a smooth onboarding. And I think at that point, you're good to go without us, unless another product or something else pops up. So that's the idea.
Let's see in a year.
Yeah, exactly. Reversing the question to you, you've been working with an agency. We're in the end an agency. Like, any lessons that you've learned working with agencies?
Yeah, like we work with a couple of agencies at Phished, and each has their own sets of qualities and boundaries. But the thing that we notice that when they work best, those agencies, is when we fit them in at the right moment, when we've already done a bit of testing ourselves, when we have a sort of, in terms of a product market fit or an MVP, or in terms of a website that we have an idea of where to start from, or anything else. Like, it's to fit them in at the right moment. If you can do that, then usually it works out. If we just bring in external people for the sake of bringing them in, it will usually not work. But bring them in at the right moment.
Yeah, I think you've done that always well. I think you aren't afraid, and the same for the stakeholders at Phished, that I know you aren't afraid of bringing in that expertise. Like when you feel like, oh, we can use that little push, you bring in the expertise, and I think that has been nice to work together as well, because I always had a feeling, oh, you're actually listening to what we say as well, what we bring to the table, because why else would you pay for it, right? So that's
We wouldn't do it for nearly 3 or more than 3 years now.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, well, I think, Arnout, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I don't know, like 3 years in, I don't know how long we're going to continue for, but in the end, I already want to thank you for the collaboration, and it has been a pleasure.
Thank you, you too. See you in another 2.
Yeah.